Yesterday was not a good day for me. I really wanted to get on camera and go over how I was feeling in the moment, but it was such a dark space that I couldn't do it. Let me tell you what happened. So, I have not been getting a lot of sleep. The last vlog that I did, remember I told you guys that it was the day after surgery and I was feeling good and I was bebopping around the house and all of that stuff. I actually wound up hurting myself worse than what I thought. So here I am thinking that I'm Superwoman, right? And the doctors told me that I can't do any repetitive motion or lifting or stretching or reaching or anything like that for 2 weeks. The day after surgery, because I'm feeling so good, I decided to reach up in the cabinet with my right arm, which the surgery was on my left side. So I'm thinking, all right, I'll just reach up with my right hand into the cabinet and pulled all of this. I was just in so much pain, and all I had was over-the-counter medicine because that's all that was required, and that did nothing for my pain. So I was in a lot of pain, and the night before I had actually stayed up pretty much all night researching the type of cancer that I have. And later on in this vlog, I'm gonna go over the specific type of cancer that I have and what it means in my particular case, because I had no clue. But anyway, so lack of sleep because I was up all night trying to be Superwoman and reaching for something in the kitchen cabinet that I had no business doing. Wound up in a lot of pain. And in my previous vlogs, you'll notice for the most part, I've been pretty upbeat through this whole thing. And I think part of it was that I did not really know anything. Like when I look at my biopsy report, I had no clue what it was saying. So I'm strictly going on what the doctors are saying. And then as I research it more, I'm finding out there's a lot more to my situation than what I thought. And it made me really nervous. And it took me into a really dark space. My son left yesterday morning, so I was home alone with my own thoughts. And you figure up to this point, it's really been a whirlwind. I mean, honestly, everything has really gone down in the past 3 weeks. Because remember, I found out on the 9th, that's when I got the diagnosis. And by the 30th, I had surgery. So all this time, I'm running back and forth to the doctor. In between that, I'm still working my job. So I was just kind of like on autopilot, just getting things done and moving and grooving and stuff like that. And this was the first time that I was actually alone by myself with my own thoughts and doing the research that I did. That doubt started to creep in. I'm not going to say fear, because it's not fear, but there's doubt and there's concern. And I was not in a good space, you guys. I was not in a good space yesterday. But as it turned out of the blue, I wound up getting 3 people that came by at different times of the day in the afternoon. So like I was home alone in the morning, and then I think I started getting visitors around 1 o'clock. And that helped quite a bit because I talked about it a little bit. And I've come to the conclusion, Well, let me just say this. The reason that I did the research on the type of cancer that I had and what my biopsy report said, I was, looking up stuff on that, is because in my care, I want to be an active participant with my medical team. I don't want to be an uneducated bystander. So trying to find out as much as I can about what I have, what the situation is, all of that good stuff. And in doing so, I think I just overdid it and I overwhelmed myself. And some of my biopsy report is not so bad, but other parts are really not good indicators. So it kind of messed me up. So I would say if you're like me, where you want to be an active participant in your treatment and in your care, absolutely get your knowledge up, but be very careful. Don't overdo it. Don't overwhelm yourself. And you have to come back to center where you're thinking positive thoughts again, because it was insane how quickly I kind of went off the rails. Can't have that. You can't have that. So find a happy balance of educating yourself but not overwhelming yourself. At this point, I've decided I'm not doing any more research. I'm not looking up any more numbers from my biopsy report. I think I'm just kind of done for right now because I have to get back to the positive. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. Now I want to talk a little bit about the type of cancer I'm going to say that I had, because I've had the surgery. The tumor is out. So I'm claiming the victory. So I'll say the type of cancer that I had. Because I always thought that breast cancer was breast cancer was breast cancer. I had no idea that there were different types of breast cancer. Most of us know of the breast cancer where you feel the lump, right? And that's kind of how you know you need to go get things checked out. Remember from a previous video, I said that my gynecologist did my breast exam and she didn't feel anything. Well, she didn't feel anything because of the type of cancer that I had what's called lobular cancer. Now, when you think of cancers, you think of cancers, growing in a ball, and that's why you feel the knot. Well, lobular cancer is a sneaky bastard. It grows in a straight line. It grows in a straight line, so you're not going to feel a lump. And what I found out is that, they tell you to get your breast exams and you're thinking it's to feel a lump, but it's more than that. It is just getting familiar with the way that your breasts feel. So if there's any change in your breast, you'll recognize it. So if it feels harder or thicker or anything like that, you'll know that there's something there. I just feel so grateful that this lobular cancer was detected in the mammogram. When I did the research, I found some examples of what lobular cancer looks like. If I can insert it into this video, I will, so you'll see what I'm talking about. If not, if you're interested, you can always do a quick Google search. It's lobular, Lobular, lobular cancer, and you'll see it doesn't grow in a ball.
Here's what I've since discovered. There are many different types of breast cancer, 80% of breast cancers are the lump variety. You might hear this called ductal cancer. The cells of this type of cancer generally grow in a mass. There are other forms of breast cancer which are generally classified as rare, but the one that I had was lobular breast cancer, which makes up 10 to 15% of cases. It behaves in quite a unique way. The cells form in single file strands, not in a tight clump. Normal cells have a molecule on the cell membrane that allows them to stick together. It's called E-cadherin. This protein is often missing in the cells of lobular breast cancer, which allows the cancer to infiltrate the tissue, forming thin strands rather than growing in clumps.
It doesn't clump up. It grows in a straight line, which makes it insidious because you don't know it's there. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about my specific biopsy. And again, like I've said from the beginning, I'm still learning this stuff. So I might not have all of the medical jargon exactly correct. So please don't hold it against me. And for sure, do your own research if you're interested. But what I have is ER/PR positive. So ER is estrogen receptor and PR is progesterone receptor positive, which means that those hormones trigger the cancers to grow. My ER and my PR, I believe, were both 95%, which is good because that means there's estrogen blockers that I can take that will basically cut off the supply for the cancer, and the cancer dies. So 95% of the cancer cells grow off of estrogen. So if you block that estrogen, then it's blocking their ability to grow. So that is a really positive thing for me because that means that the estrogen blockers are probably going to do a pretty good job at killing off any cancer. The next thing is the HER2. So, and again, I might have this mixed up, so forgive me if I don't have it exactly right. So with HER2, it could be a 1, 2, excuse me, 1, 2, or 3. I believe if it's a 1, that it is negative, and if it's no, I think it's the other way around. I think if it's a 1, it's a positive, and if it's a 3, it's a negative. If it's a 2, then it's equivocal, which means they don't quite know. So what they do then is they do an additional test called a FISH test. And I guess the FISH test helps narrow it down even further. So if you're a 2, mine was like a 2+. They gave me the FISH test. They narrowed it down even further. And I wind up with what's called HER2 low, which means it's not quite a 1, but it's not a 3. And from what I can tell, when they categorize it, and again, I might be wrong about this, but from what I can tell, when they categorize it, if it's a HER2 low, it's categorized as a negative. So that would make me ER/PR positive, HER2 negative. So that's actually good for getting hormone blocker therapy, from what I understand. Now, Besides giving you stages of cancer, and we've all heard of stage 1, 2, 3, 4, there's grades of cancer. And the grade of cancer determines how fast, how aggressive it is, and how fast that it grows. So in my case, I have stage 1, so which means it's small and it hasn't broken off into other parts of my body. It hasn't metastasized. So mine is stage 1. The grades go between 1 and 4, with 4 being very aggressive, means it grows fast. I'm a 3. So that means the cancer that I had was very aggressive, very fast growing, which kind of makes sense because remember in one of my other videos, I had mentioned that when I had my mammogram in November of 2022, there was no sign of cancer, and November 2023, there's signs of cancer. Grows really fast. So that's not a good thing. The other thing is, I want to say it's a protein. I think it's a protein. It's called Ki-67. And if your Ki-67 results come in under 5%, you're in a good space. My Ki-67 is 50 to 60%. So if less than 5% is good and I'm at 50 to 60%, kind of tells you. So although I have stage 1, it's a grade 3, and my Ki-67 is 50 to 60%. So that's good and bad news. And I think that's part of the reason why I went down a negative rabbit hole. The other thing is, and it kind of also goes back to me trying to be Superwoman in the kitchen. I was doing research online, and I found a lady on YouTube who has or had lobular cancer. Just like me, she was diagnosed stage 1. She was a couple years younger than me. She had a lumpectomy like me. She went on the hormone blockers like I will. I'm not on anything now since, I'm just, 2 days post-op, 3 days post-op now. But basically, going through the same thing. This lady was a yoga instructor. And after her lumpectomy, she went back to teaching yoga. Now, I'm sure it wasn't the day after surgery like my dumb butt did in the kitchen. But I'm thinking, okay, if this lady can go back to teaching yoga, I can certainly, putz around in my kitchen, and I fooled around and hurt myself. So that was part of it. But the other thing is, what really messed me up is this lady who had the same type of cancer, the same stage. She now has stage 4 cancer. She was taking the blockers, and apparently some of the cells got away and went through her system and landed someplace else in her body. I can't remember right now. I want to say it was either like her kidney or her liver. And so now her lobular cancer is in, let's just say it's the liver. Now her lobular cancer is in her liver, and it's stage 4. And you guys, that freaked me out. That freaked me out that that's even a possibility that can happen. Now, I will say, in her case, she did admit that she did not take her hormone blocker pills like she should have. She wasn't taking them consistently. She admitted that she never really wanted to take them in the first place. I think that she didn't have a clear understanding of the reason behind taking them. And when you take these pills, you take them for a minimum of 5 years. When I went to see my doctor, they had already told me that, once I have the surgery, I'm going to be on hormone blockers for the next 5 years. So this lady, I want to say she was 3.5 years in or 4.5 years in on taking the hormone pills, and then she just kind of stopped. She just wasn't being very consistent, and she has stage 4 cancer. And she did say that she feels that this would have happened anyway, because how quickly, like once she fell off taking these pills, how quickly and how aggressively the cancer came back. So she's thinking that this would have happened anyway once she got to the end of her 5 years. And that really concerned me, right? So that's going to be one of the questions that I have for my doctor. Like, you say take this pill for 5 years. Like, does it only have to be 5 years? Like, does it become less effective after 5 years? What makes 5 years the cutoff? Like, why can't I take it forever if it's going to keep the cancer at bay? I don't know if it has like diminishing returns after so many years, or if it kind of messes with other parts of your body after 5 years. I don't know. Why is there a 5-year cutoff for this hormone blocker? But that's going to be one of the questions that I ask when I go back to my doctor. The other thing that I want to mention, I actually feel pretty lucky, pretty blessed, because the care that I've gotten has been phenomenal. Through my job, we have a benefit that doesn't cost us anything. It's called Second MD, where you can get a second opinion for anything. And I've used them in the past before. So I definitely called them for this go round, and got to speak with a wonderful doctor who helped answer some more of my questions. So if anybody has that benefit through their employer, I would highly encourage you to take advantage of the service, because it's just a one-on-one, and you can get additional questions that you have answered. My nurse coordinator actually messaged me yesterday, or no, day before yesterday, day after surgery, to see how I was doing, which I thought was really nice, and to see how my consultation went with my second MD doctor. And I told her it went great, and that I would like to have a follow-up with her after I have my 2-week checkup with my surgeon, which will be February 14th. And then I go back and see the oncologist February 16th. And that's when I'll get the course of action, because the oncologist is going to take a look at the biopsy of the tumor and the lymph nodes that they removed, and really see where I'm at, and we'll decide the course of action. So I'm going to meet with the second MD doctor again after that report comes in, and I just want to make sure that everything with my oncologist is matching up with my second opinion. So yeah, I wanted to mention that. And the other thing is, I actually got a call from UCLA yesterday, and the lady called me right when I was feeling very, very down. And it was like a lifeline was sent to me, because she said that her job is to make sure that how patients are doing, emotionally. The doctor's got it physically going on. And I told her, I said, in the midst of me trying to educate myself, I have really concerned myself And she said that she understood, and that's what she's there for. And a lot of people go through that. So she actually offered a kind of like a counseling service that I'm definitely going to take her up on, because I just have a feeling, like I said, for the most part, I've been pretty upbeat about this whole process, but now it's really settling in like, girl, you really have this going on. So now my emotions are kind of doing one of these numbers. So I need to get that in check. I can't be all over the place with it. So I'm going to be meeting with her. And what I found out is that it is a service that's offered through UCLA. So there's no cost to me and there's no cost to my insurance company. It's part of what they do. The other part of what they do is they have a nutrition service, like where you can talk to a nutritionist. And again, no cost to me, no cost to my insurance company. It's just part of their holistic approach. And I'm taking them up on that as well, because like I know, watch your sugar and all that, and you got to get vitamins in you and stuff like that, and you got to eat healthy. But what does eat healthy mean? Especially when you have cancer. Like, what does it mean? What do I need to do to prepare my body to be as strong as possible to get through the rest of this fight? I've got no clue. So I'll be speaking with a nutritionist as well. And if there's any nuggets of information that I can share from that, I certainly will. But I would definitely encourage you to talk to your health provider and see if they have some kind of holistic approach where maybe you can speak to a nutritionist, because you want your body to be at its optimal peak as you go through these different stages of fighting off the cancer. Speaking of phone calls, I also got a phone call from my health insurance provider. Remember in a previous video, I had mentioned that they requested genetic testing for me for cancer, for breast cancer, since my mom had it. And I guess when my gynecologist put in for the request, my healthcare company denied the request. But then I guess they got the additional information about my diagnosis and all that, and they actually wound up approving it. So the lady from my health insurance company called me just to kind of give me a heads up. She was like, hey, we first denied you, but now we approved you. The letters went out. One letter went out on the 24th, and then the next letter went out on the 26th. So she was like, we just didn't want you to be confused. But the genetic testing has been approved by the insurance. And I was so appreciative, because especially yesterday, I don't think that I could have taken, seeing that. I'm just appreciative that she called and said, disregard the first letter. The second letter says that you're approved, and you were approved. So I appreciated that. And that leads me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, because I know in previous videos, I was saying, like, get her done, get to the doctor. Like, it was legit 3 weeks between the time that I found out for sure that I had cancer to the time that I had surgery. 3 weeks. And I'm finding out some people don't have that same benefit. And I don't know if it's because the type of insurance that people have. Like, I have a PPO. I don't have a HMO. So I don't know if that's what's going on. But what I've done, I looked on Facebook and I found 3 groups on Facebook for the type of cancer that I have. And I'm reading through a lot of these posts, and I see people who are waiting 2 months to see their doctor. And that kind of just took me aback. Like, I can't even imagine waiting 2 months to get an appointment to see your doctor. So I have to say, I'm so grateful for the team of doctors that I have, that they were just on it. They were on it. Like I said in a previous video, I found out on a Tuesday, went into my gynecologist office, and she went over the results with me on a Tuesday. That Thursday, I had my appointment with the surgeon, and then that following Monday, I had the appointment with the oncologist, and then it's just been like going. Like, my tests were scheduled within days. When I called my PCP, because remember I said I had to get approved for surgery, I had to get released for surgery through my primary care physician. When I called up to their office, you know how sometimes it takes forever to get in to see your PCP? They said, when is your surgery? I said the 30th. They scheduled me the week before because they like want to see you a week before. Like, it was just like everybody was just so on it. And I'm so sorry for anybody that their insurance or their medical team are dragging their feet, but really try to press on and press through as much as you can, as quickly as your psyche will allow you to, because even though I'm better today, but like I said, I was not in a good place yesterday. But even when I was in a bad headspace, I still know that I want to get this done. Like, I don't want to delay it. I don't want to stop it. Let's keep this train moving. I'm looking forward to my post-op visit. I'm looking forward to speaking with the oncologist, finding out just what's what. Like I said, I already know they're going to be putting me on a hormone blocker. I just don't know which one. I already know that I'm going to have radiation, and I'm going to do a separate video on that because I went down that rabbit hole as well, thinking radiation was one thing and finding out all of the effects of radiation, and it's just like overwhelming. But again, I'll do a separate video on that. So I know I'm getting the hormone blocker, I'm getting the radiation, and then we'll have to determine if I'm going to have the chemotherapy as well. So there's still a lot of unknowns, and I think that I'll feel better once I know what the course of action is. Like, I know so much about the tumor that was taken out, but I don't know about the after, like ensuring that everything is gone, and follow-ups for that, like more MRIs and mammograms and ultrasounds, and I don't know what all of that looks like yet to make sure that I stay clear. So there's still a lot of unknowns, but I'm trying to roll it back a little bit, deal with what I have in front of me, and that the main thing is the tumor is out of me. The tumor is out of me. So that's the main thing. Now we just have to make sure about the residuals. So we'll see. But anyway, I wanted to come on and let you know yesterday was not a good day. Today is better. And what kind of cancer that I'm dealing with. And I'll say again, Please make sure that you get your regular mammogram. Please make sure that you do self breast exams and take good care of yourself. If you're currently going through cancer, you are not alone. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I understand. And, excuse me, I'd be happy to be a listening ear for anyone out there. So I hope you have a great day. Love on yourself and love on somebody else. Bye.